Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of Sports on a Pod. This is Santosh, Nehil, and Sanjit. Today we'll be talking about something that we missed for a long while, and that is fans. Let's all start off by expressing something which we love to see in the past and also hopefully in the future, not in the present right now. Let's start, talking about our favorite fans, be it a team's fans or a player or a racer's fans or whatever it is. I'll start with myself. It's been a while since I actually saw the Bundesliga fans because the Bundesliga fans are probably the most rowdy, passionate, and the most huge fan base that I've seen elsewhere. Like I don't know, even the Premier League doesn't give that vibe. But when you see a Bundesliga match, when you used to see a Bundesliga match, I mean, it was instant goosebumps. And I'm somebody who's a fan of Borussia Dortmund, and to see the jam-packed Signal Iduna Park with I don't know almost 80 to 85,000 people jumping up and down, and also the south stand where people will be jumping up and down. It's probably the most intimidating experience to be if you're a player from the away team. I mean, like that's probably super intimidating, and the tifos and the whole banners, the mosaics, the scene itself is amazing. Not only Borussia Dortmund, every other team in the Bundesliga does follow this. Their fans are exceptional, and there are. It is also sad to see, like some of the stadiums like Old Trafford, Camp Nou, and Santiago Bernabeu, like seeing all empty. It's just sad. Let's just hope that things get better. But in my opinion, Bundesliga fans are just a class apart, man. Other than that, I miss Ferrari's tifosi at the Monza Grand Prix. Whenever Ferrari wins or loses, the tifosi just goes crazy. And I mean, now that the Australian Open and tennis is back, it is good to see crowds. But yeah, what about you guys? What about you, Snehal?
So in cricket, I have always loved the antics of the Barmy Army in England, and I love the way how organized they are. Fun fact: they are close to 33,000 members now. They have a proper website, a proper membership structure. So that is how organized fandom can be in cricket. The Australian crowd can be quite rowdy and can be quite ruthless, sometimes in a negative sense. In India, we have tended to keep it quite simple. India, such and such. Although in the last couple of years, we have become more innovative in our chants. So the Bharat Army, which is the Indian version of Barmy Army, came up with an amazing jingle on Rishabh Pant. Please do check that out on YouTube. It's amazing. Other than that, I have grown to like the crowds in the IPL, especially Chennai and Mumbai. What about you, Sanjay?
Yeah, basically, you guys, fans are an integral part of any sport, and the sporting ecosystem, because based on how successful the league is not only monetarily judged but also the number of people that watch it. And for me personally, I'm a major fan of Bayern Munich, and they dominate the Bundesliga and the German soccer scene. And also with regards to that, the German national team is something that I closely follow. I'm a fan of as well. And there are there is a term in sports called the ultras, especially in football. They talk about how passionate or how crazy uh, they are. Certain people are for their clubs and the teams, or even players, and it gets really competitive with flares, banners, and everything during the match, and even people yelling at their own players to perform better and the oppositions to not perform. And but an important aspect is also the local scene, and I support Chennai in FC and also Chennai Super Kings, coming from being from Chennai myself. And it is very important to support your local environment, local clubs, and the fandom is very crazy for all of them, because it's just something that comes along with the aspect of sports and the feeling you get.
Now let's talk about something which is relatively recent. According to you guys, which sporting movement during this time of COVID you think deserved like a jam-packed audience, like a filled stadium?
I think I'll take that, being having just described myself as a Bayern fan, hardcore Bayern fan. One in sporting, historical event that happened recently was Bayern winning the Club World Cup, and with that being the second team, only the second team other than the Barca, uh, the great Barcelona under Pep to win the six-tuple and all the six domestic and the European trophies, and kind of it was a monumental moment, and it only thing that would have made it even better is the presence of the fans, and obviously Bayern winning the CL, particularly that match. CL being the best, one of the best leagues, and Bayern being one of the best teams, it only made sense that it was filled with a full stadium and fans shouting and slandering the opponents, and I just kind of missed that.
So for me, it would have to be that miraculous innings played by Rahul Tewatia for Rajasthan Royals. When he was playing all those dot balls, I could literally l- imagine the crowd just booing their lungs out. And then he, I think, struck Sheldon Cottrell for 30 runs in that single over and turned it around. That was, for me, it has to be one of the greatest comebacks in the game has ever seen in a matter of minutes. So that moment deserved a crowd, and there was no crowd to acknowledge.
It is very difficult to say, all of these great moments which happened in a single year, but I have to go with the top three. One of which has to be Pierre Gasly winning the Monza Grand Prix, because nobody expected Gasly or Alpha Tauri or anybody else other than Lewis Hamilton to win, and to win in such a fashion, in such an unexpected way. That was so good, and it was so sad to see the Monza Grand Prix and the circuit being so empty. It would have been berserk, since you're like a Formula One fan, and it would have been amazing. And also, Sergio Perez's win the Sakir Grand Prix, that was also very similar to Gasly's win, but Sergio Perez literally came from 20th, like from the bottom to the first place. That's just mind blowing stuff. And this one has to be a very personal favorite, because now that Sanjit has mentioned about the sextuple and Bayern winning the Champions League and all, I think Sanjit, you have to be thankful for this moment, because Leon beat Manchester City in the most convincing way possible, in the most poetic way possible. Since I'm a United fan, I was cheering Leon all along, and to see Sterling miss that open goal, imagine the reaction from the crowd if that happened in a jam-packed stadium. It would have been absolutely amazing, and Leon dominated the game pretty well. So yeah, these three moments would have been amazing if for the fans. Now let's talk about the things we like during these times without fans. Mine has to be, the conversation and the interactions between the players. Yes, you would hear that prominently in cricket, but it was the first for football, because since there is an empty audience, it's literally blank. So we can hear the managers like Mourinho and all yelling at Tottenham players. We can hear so many other Jurgen Klopp, for example, yelling at his Liverpool players, and the so-called banter or whatever between the players and referees. And there was this one heated moment during the last season when Liverpool played versus Chelsea in Anfield, where Frank Lampard and Jurgen Klopp talked the sidelines, where they were like having like a very expletive but yet an interesting exchange. It was good to see that, since I am a football fan. What about you, Snehal?
So I like the way how chess has experienced a revival during the COVID lockdown period. And online streaming of chess games became a real popular commodity on YouTube. And Indian stand-up comedians such as Samay Raina and Tanmay Bhatt helped to bring in new Indian audiences. Well, hell, one fine day, even I decided to go on chess.com just out of curiosity, and I know plenty of people who did the same. So that is one thing I actually like.
It's really odd to see so many other games, but chess to pick up during this lockdown period. I also saw a lot of famous Twitch streamers. They played chess and all. It was very 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 new and odd to see. I mean, like, it was very very good to see. Now moving on, we all know that fans and stadiums are like facing a halt. How do you think sports has coped up with COVID-19, and what are the different and innovative ways various sports try to integrate their audience from home. I think Snehil has an experience worthy of sharing.
Yeah, so I'll take this up. So the way WWE handled COVID-19 was incredible. While almost each and every sport came to a halt after the pandemic broke out, WWE never took a break, even for a single week. In fact, professional wrestling was legally deemed to be an essential business in the state of Florida. Can you imagine? And initially, they did their shows in empty arenas while trying to follow all the COVID protocols. Later on, they created these massive structures in a stadium called the Thunderdome, where fans were shown watching the show in the comfort of their homes, and for crowd noises, they used the ones which they had in their database. They even hosted a show dedicated to Indian fans, and my brother and I happened to be a part of the crowd. It was a different experience for us. The only downside which I felt was that they were actually instructing us whether to boo someone or whether to cheer someone. So that was a small turn off for me. But overall, I think they have cooked up the best out of each and every sport. Ironically, they are not considered a sport. So yeah,
I mean, I would disagree that if it's a sports or not, but I mean, it is so crazy to see so many other sports, but wrestling, being intact irrespective of whatever is happening right now. That is so crazy. You have other sports like cricket and football, which stop for months, and you have this thing called wrestling, and also UFC, also mixed martial arts. It wasn't stopped. It was so crazy to see.
A lot of football leagues, and it translated onto other sports as well, have been implementing having fan cams and big screens at stadiums. And Santosh and Snehal was very excited in talking to us, telling us about it. He was also part of such an experience himself. And fan cams have become such a thing that people relate to it because it's something that gives them a stadium like experience, although you cannot exactly replicate that and it's very hard to give it. It's still the clubs or the organization or the league's best effort to give them that feel of the fans being there. And that effort alone made me personally love, like made me feel closer to my club because it took an effort to kind of connect with us.
So one of the favorite moments which happened in this unique sports watching experience, like you guys, like you talked about the Megatron or the Jumbotron, where you can see all these fans. One of my particularly favorite moments has to be Devin Booker hitting the game-winning three versus Paul George of the LA Clippers in the NBA bubble last season. It was, why it was iconic, because it was, there were like a few reasons, being it was a buzzer beater, it was a clutch sort of a play from Booker. And when Booker hit that shot, everybody in the Jumbotron went crazy. You can also see like a Clippers fan is like doing like this. There's like Phoenix Suns fans are going berserk. It's like it was almost like a 21st century technology wali sort of moment, I would say. Whenever you get time, go watch it if you can. In my opinion, it's the closest replication to Kobe Bryant. So yeah, now let's talk about social media during COVID. I think Sanjit has a lot to share about it, since he's a Bayern Munich fan.
Yeah, social media has always been an important part when it comes to connecting with my club, considering they are in Germany and I'm based in India. I can't keep visiting them often, or I can't go to the stadiums, which is a dream of mine to go one day. But there are other ways that players, clubs, organizations have a way of connecting, taking that extra step to connect with the fans outside of the sport, outside of those 90 minutes or 100 minutes or 30 minutes, however long the sport is for. And it has been the activity, social media activity and the digital marketing scene has increased a lot. The attention paid to it and the number of people that are getting into it has increased a lot, particularly because organizations realize during times where the game is shut, with exceptions for WWE and MMA and other sports, so, football, like Santosh mentioned, was shut off for months, right? And the only way they could make revenue was through social media marketing. And they realized they could focus their resources on growing their fan base so that when they return to football, they can direct the resources to what it was before. But speaking of new normal and the things that might happen, I still think social media is going to be there, and we will cover it more in the podcast later in the podcast as well.
I mean, I don't know how you failed to mention about the TikToks and Instagram reels made by your own Bayern players, especially big ups to Alfonso Davis and not so big ups to Robert Lewandowski. Because now I realize why, he was stripped off from last year's Ballon d'Or. I mean, but jokes aside, I love the YouTube collaboration videos where you see players like James Madison, Mason Mount with YouTubers like Chunks and all. It made me smile and it was also a bit funny. And due to those videos, Mount and Madison took the celebrations, implemented those celebrations in the matches after they scored, that was super wholesome in my opinion. And Aguero's Twitch was, even though I don't understand Spanish at all, I would just simply watch it because it's Sergio Aguero. And one day he randomly just called Lionel Messi during a Twitch stream, and then it was so crazy because Messi was figuring out on how to use Twitch, and it was hilarious. And last but not least, I personally love the F1 stream gang ensemble of Alex Albon, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, and George Russell. During lockdown, they were just friends having a good time. They were just playing these simulator games. So like it was just absolute fun, and they're absolute gems of, I don't know, Formula One and motorsports to come in the future. What about you, Snehal? What are your favorite things in social media that you saw?
I think a lot of cricketers saw this as an opportunity to launch their media careers. So, cricketers such as Ravichandran Ashwin, Sachin Tendulkar, Inzamam ul Haq, Shoaib Akhtar, and plenty more regularly engaged with their fans through YouTube videos. David Warner became a star on TikTok. WWE wrestlers extensively engaged with their fans on Twitch, and gaming became an important part of their banter and their conversation. So that is something I really like in terms of social media.
So, as I was saying earlier, the social media scene and the social media marketing has picked up, and LinkedIn indicates that it's one of the digital marketing, particularly sports digital marketing, is one of the jobs that is going to see a rise in higher after the post COVID, because people now understand that they have a fan base and users basically to acquire or stimulate, so that they are interested, they fall in love with the club, the sport. Even leagues are trying it. So Bundesliga, for example, every time there's a Champions League match and a German team scores, or when Bayern Munich won, they released a bunch of uh, creatives that had all these Bayern players, and they, because engagement during that time was mainly based on Champions League and around Champions League. The creatives released by Bundesliga players, the Bundesliga team had the Champions League theme, overall theme to it, and linking it back to Bundesliga, so that the fans from the other leagues that do watch the Champions League are aware of Bundesliga, and more traffic and more fans are pushed towards the league. And they indeed saw a rise in fans and followers on their social media pages. So I think it is here to stay, and if not, it's going to increase now that they realize the power. Like, just one quick example before I pass it over to Santosh, is that Ronaldo earns more through his social media and his than he does from his contract at Juventus, and that says a lot. So, by even major clubs are realizing that it's a huge source of untapped revenue, and it's going to be interesting to see how who comes out on top or how they utilize it.
I mean, since you mentioned a lot about social media, like, I mean, the beautiful integration of German clubs and memes were probably the most amazing thing to see on Twitter. Now that we've covered the past and the present, now let's dive a bit deeper into the future now. What do you think the future holds from a fan sort of a perspective? I personally think the stadiums will be more packed for at least like, I don't know, for like the next 3-4 months when it's restarted again, since the fact they've missed it for so long. And also, even Infantino, FIFA's president, promised that there will be a full house for Qatar 2022 World Cup. But I think, for example, since I'm a Manchester United fan, I mean, Atletico Madrid, AC Milan, Borussia Dortmund fan from India, I don't think I'll ever go to Old Trafford. Yes, there is a chance, but the closest I'll ever get to see those players is maybe through these big fan camps that happened during the lockdown. I think that should be implemented a lot in the future, because maybe fans like me can experience it, but not experience it completely, but it's still good enough, still satisfiable enough for me. So experiences like that. And I would like, in FIFA there is this thing called radar. Whenever we play, you just see whether the players are moving here or there. It's already there in cricket, but it would be a lot nicer if it's in football, because you can predict the play by yourself while whenever the game is happening. So just to become yourself creative and understand the game a little bit better. And I would like to see, this is a far-fetched idea, but I mean, since football has home away kids and all, I don't see that a lot in cricket. So it would be like, I mean, just generalizing it as IPL, it would be nice if all the teams from IPL except RCB, who already did it, to have two kids, like for one for home and one for away, and just to like see the other teams in different colors. Some people wouldn't like it, but I would like to see some sort of something new. What about you, Sanjay?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go off on a different tangent here and kind of tell you what I feel like what I think the future is gonna look like. It's similar to theaters. During COVID, people didn't go to theaters. Although sports is essential, has become an essential part and business, essential industry for the economy to succeed or to prosper or get money in. Uh, Theater is very similar in the sense that people go there because of the environment. So end of the day, they're seeing something, but it's the environment they want to experience it. Sure, the OTT platforms that are here are kind of moving them away, but the argument that holds there, where does the presence of an OTT take the theater away, or is theater going to still exist after COVID? I think it is going to be. And one thing that all clubs are going to experience is an increase in ticketing revenue. I think the ones that are going to benefit the most are the ones who make that experience a little bit more, like a little bit more better or innovative. So instead of making it the regular old stadium experience, let's say you could have interactions or something extra to entice the crowds that are coming in, or try to persuade the people who are hesitant to go back, and in hopes of not getting corona again, because that's going to stay here for a while. It's about how you cope with it, how you beat that. And it is going to be very essential, I think. Like Santosh said, you're going to see stadiums packed, even if it is a preseason friendly for any sport, or even if it's just because even if it's the lowest ranked teams playing, it's going to be, you're going to see fans through and through.
The next time Morecambe and Grimsby Town are gonna face, it's gonna be an absolute scene. Trust me, it's gonna be like, you'll see the Besiktas and the Galatasaray players and all will be thrown in the stadium. Thanks for reminding me that, Sanjay. Sorry to interrupt you, Snehal. Go on.
So I was talking about so because of the lockdown period once again, the people are embracing the digital platform more. People, they are embracing the OTT platforms even more. Hence, personalized viewing experience is something that I can see in the future. So just to give you an example, in cricket, I can foresee watching an entire match from the perspective of the umpires through an umpire cam, or through the perspective of the batsman through the helmet cam or the stump cam. So that was something I can foresee happening. Another one which Sanjay talked about, the theatrical experience of sports. So I actually thought that drive-in theaters would come into picture because of the social distancing requirements and the norms. So I thought that drive-in theaters could be one of the ways to counter it. And third one was that because of the pandemic, esports have seen an explosive rise. And I can see that a lot of people who are working in esports can then be transferred into the traditional sports setup solely because of how fresh their thoughts could be. So, I think there was one example wherein a player who played in the football football manager, I think, and he got a job with a club. I'm not able to recall the name. Santosh, I think you might be remembering
I
that.
guess his name is Andrei Popkovich, and he got a job by showing his football manager CV to a second division club in Serbia, and he's actually doing pretty good and all. I think when they hired him, they were like some 12th or something, but after hiring him, they were like third or second or something. So big ups to that. And since you mentioned this helmet cam, like wouldn't it be so interesting and so fascinating to see somebody like MS Dhoni's point of view? Like we can actually see him hitting hitting the stumpings pretty quickly than expected, like those lightning quick stumping. So thanks for reminding that. It would be very very cool to see that. So with this in itself, there's a lot of things which could happen in the future. I would like to finish this episode by thanking the athletes, the teams, the boards, and the organizations who are all taking these efforts to conduct matches just for the sake of making us sports fans happy during this tough and turbulent times.
And let's not forget the doctors, like the frontline healthcare workers that are literally like helping these. Okay, so helping us and helping families and the public in general by risking their lives. And even in the sports scene, they have to take weekly COVID tests for the players and every other member in the club. And it's something that is heartwarming to see that they're putting so much effort. And I think on behalf of all three of us and our team, I would like to say like a big thank you as well, and you can add them to that list.
On that note, thank you so much for watching this second episode of Sports in a Pod. Make sure you like and share this to your fellow friends. Thank you so much. This is Santosh, Snehil, and Sanjit. And tata, bye bye.